Guys, I am totally freaking out right now. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna be working on my 2005 350Z. So there's a track day in about a week here, and I want to get out there for my second time drifting the 350Z and just get a little bit more seat time and take advantage of what should be some nice weather. So I've got a couple projects this weekend that we are going to be doing. So the headlights on this car are completely stock. Nothing's been modified on them, and the lenses have just started to fail just a little bit here. It's really hard to show on camera, but you can kind of see they're yellowed there and oxidized as you come down. There's a nice spot right here where it's definitely failed. I think maybe some coolant might have gotten on it or something along those lines. So we're gonna go ahead and take these headlights apart and completely rebuild them. So with the full rebuild of these headlights, we're gonna do a couple different things. The first thing we're gonna do is pull them out of the car. Once they're out of the car, we're actually gonna separate the lenses from the housing, and that's gonna allow us to get inside the headlights and do the painting that we're gonna do. And I'll show you guys that a little bit later, but I have some plans to do kind of a nice contrast between black and then this kind of like metallic color. It's basically like a gunmetal for the housing. We did it on Lewis's Subaru and it looked super good. Once we get them actually back together, I've got some products that we're prototyping at Griot's that is incredible for restoring headlights. I can't say too much about it, but I will show you the process and how well it works. And then we're gonna be finishing off with some new LED bulbs. So let me show you guys what we picked up here. So first and foremost, I want to give a big thank you to Lost Fit Lighting. These guys were kind enough to send out a set of their H7 6000K bulbs for the 350Z, so I'm looking really forward to throwing these in, and they're kind enough to give a code for you guys as well, so you can use code AMB10 for 10% off a bunch of great lighting stuff. I'm really excited to get these in the car and show you guys what they look like. So then, as I was mentioning, we're going to be using this kit here to actually restore the headlights, the exterior lenses on it. We're going to polish those down. This stuff works really well. I've seen it work on other headlights. It's a product we're testing at Griot's garage and we'll soon be carrying that you guys can use as well. And then we're going to be painting the interior housing as well, like I was talking about. So we're going to do a few different parts in a satin black, and then we've got this metal cast here, which is what I was talking about that we used on Lewis's WRX. Got a base coat as well that kind of works to seal off the old undersurface and make a nice even coat for the final layer to go on. It's a metal cast anodized coating is what they call it. I forget what color it is exactly, it doesn't say on there, but it's kind of a gunmetal color. So we're gonna do a couple nice accents with that, and then we're gonna finish up resealing the headlight housing with some new actual black adhesive. This stuff's from Morimoto. We've used it before and it works really well. But first and foremost, we need to go ahead and take this front bumper off so we can get the lights out of the car and start working on that. Got the headlights inside, so now it's time to pull off all the components that can come off before we put them in the oven to get that seal to separate. So we've got the headlight housing stripped of all the wiring, the bulbs, everything that we'd want to get out before it goes in the oven. So that's ready to go in on both headlights. And we've got all the wiring harness and caps over here. So the previous owner did install some LEDs, but the ones we got from Lost Fit Lighting are a little bit better. So we're gonna go ahead and throw those in. Obviously we'll clean up all the wiring and stuff, the caps as well, before we put these back in, because that's just how we do things. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the oven preheated to 250 and So I'm gonna go ahead and get the other headlight taken apart, and then I will see you guys when we're ready to start painting these parts. Good morning, you guys. We're back for day 2 of the headlight restoration. We got a few parts ready for paint, so let me show you where we're at. So these are like the most forward facing portion of the inside of the headlight housing. So we're gonna paint these satin black. Before they're chrome and then black down here, as you can see. Now this one in particular, I don't know how well it's gonna show up on camera, but had some peeling there. We took care of that, sanded it off, smoothed it out. Both of these have been rubbed down with rubbing alcohol to make sure they're perfectly clean and ready for paint. So I chose to use this Krylon Fusion. It's a satin black all-in-one paint and primer. We used it before on a couple different sets of headlights and it's worked out really well. Basically it says spray it on, wait 1 minute between coats, and then it's dry to the touch within 20 minutes. And then anything beyond 2 hours, you want to wait an additional 48 hours before applying more coats. So we're gonna go ahead and apply a few coats of this. Whew, that black paint is looking super good on those front trim pieces. Now we're gonna jump onto the reflector buckets. And like I said, we're gonna be doing kind of a gunmetal color that's not gonna diminish the reflection that we're getting, or hopefully not too much, and just make it look a little bit darker in contrast with the black real nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and get those things wiped down with rubbing alcohol and get the first coat of the base coat on. I think it's like 10 minutes in between each coat. So we're gonna do 2 or 3 coats of the base coat and then 2 or 3 coats of the gunmetal color. So we've got about an hour of painting here with the breaks in between. So I've got all the parts painted that are getting paint. Now it's just time to play the waiting game, let those things dry. I may try to get the oxidation and sanding done on the lenses now, but I can't put the coating on until after they've been in the oven to reseal them. So we're gonna have to wait on that. So started cleaning up the headlight buckets inside. Got this one all cleaned up. You can see the difference there. Just all the stuff that's in the bottom. Looks a little bit better. Gonna do the same with these caps here, and I'm just using some of the Griot Citrus Multi-Surface Cleaner. This stuff works really well on pretty much any exterior surface, plastic, paint. I really like that stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and wipe these guys down, wipe that down, and just continue to wait for the paint to dry. All right, so I brought all of the parts inside, and with everything now dry to the touch, it's been a few hours, so everything's like really completely dry. We're gonna start throwing it back in here and just getting all of this reassembled so it can continue to dry in here while we work on some other stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with this headlight, start getting this stuff back installed. Boys, everything is really starting to come together. Check this out. So I threw the amber corner marker back in the black piece that we painted here. Loving that I kept that. I really debated almost painting that just so it would blend in black, but for safety reasons, obviously it's good to have that there. It's a little more reflection, especially when you're painting stuff darker. And I actually think it looks even better having the contrast with the orange and the black there. So I threw one of these up here to give you a little sneak peek of what we're gonna get, but I don't want to show you too much more. So with those guys continuing to dry, it's time to move on to the lenses. And with them off the car, especially when you put it over like the black table, you can just see truly how oxidized those things are. They're not even clear anymore. So most of that is on the exterior of these lenses, and that's what we're going to be using the product that we're prototyping at Griot's that I was telling you guys about. Now my thought is we'll do all of that after we've mated them back to the headlight housing. So I am going to wipe out these interior pieces here and just get the insides cleaned up as much as possible, again with the multi-surface cleaner, and then those will be ready to go back onto the housings. So the next step is replacing the seal that goes into the housing here that we pulled out earlier. So I've got brand new stuff here. It comes in kind of like a rope, I guess is the best way to describe it. But what I like to do is kind of unroll this and then roll it between your fingers and thin it out a little bit so you can fit it back in this channel. And then once you've got a nice like solid piece going around there, you can put this piece in the oven, warm that back up, and pop the lens in. So we're gonna go ahead and get that new seal installed in there. So with the new seal in both of those, we got one continuous piece all around on those. Those are ready to go. I've got the oven heating up again to 250. While we're waiting on that, we're gonna go ahead and get these installed back in the lenses and be ready to go for when these headlights come out of the oven, that we can push those lenses back onto the housing. Guys, I am totally freaking out right now. I took one of the headlights and did the restoration on the exterior of it, removing all the oxidation and putting the prototype coating on there. And I took it out to the Z and it looks so good. Let me show you. I mean, just look how good that looks. It is such an improvement on the front end. I'm speechless. I'm totally speechless. So I brought the refinished one back in to compare it to the one that I haven't done yet, and this is where you really get an idea of how well that restoration kit worked. The light reflection's a little bit odd, but this one has been done, and this one still has all of the oxidation on it. And we've got spots here that I mentioned I think might have been from coolant or some sort of corrosive fluid sitting on it. So this one's gonna be a real good test, but the results from this one are really blowing me away. So with the lights all refinished, it's time to redo the wiring and put in these awesome new LED bulbs from Lost Fit Auto Lighting. They were, again, kind enough to send these out. I'm super stoked to try them. They're a much cleaner setup than what was in the car before, with a bit shorter wiring and just less stuff to deal with there. So I'm super excited to see how they look in there, and even more so when they light up. Again, you can use code AMB10 for 10% off all lighting products. So let's go ahead and get this stuff installed. Got that new bulb all tucked in there, super clean, love that. And like I was saying, it's one direct plug-in, just like that, super easy to tuck in there, really, really nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the cap back on this, do the other headlight, do the same thing. I probably won't show it because you guys just saw the process, but then we can go ahead and get these back on the car, turn them on, and see how everything looks. So I've got the lights back in the car, all the wiring done, bulbs back in, got our new bulbs in there from Lost Fit Auto. They're gonna be lighting up these bad boys here. Super excited to see how that looks. So moment of truth, let me turn the car on. Ooh, we did it, boys. Looking super good. Love the color of it. It's like pretty white with like a hint of blue. Huge fan of it. Man, well, I'm just super hyped how those lights turned out. It's one of those projects that I've been planning to do almost since I bought this car, because I wanted to black out the housing, and then as soon as the oxidation started happening and that clear coat started failing, I knew it was a must. So I'm super stoked that Lost Fit Auto LED Lighting hit us up to make this project possible. I think the blacked out housings with those new LED bulbs really just does this car justice. So I'm gonna film a quick cinematic and drop it in here so you guys can get fully immersed in how good these headlights look. So that's gonna wrap up this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We've got plenty more stuff coming for the Z. We're throwing an angle kit on it this week, which you guys will see in next week's video. And I'm doing all this to take it out to the track again for my second open drift at Evergreen Speedway. And I'm really hoping we can get some linkage going and link some corners as we're practicing. If I can do that, I'll be super stoked how it goes. But stay tuned for more Z content. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace out. I'll see you soon.